How much further do you hit on average the 430 than say you would the 400 if you had a well-fit club? I mean, I've got an answer. I say it all the time in these videos, but it'd be interesting to hear yours.
Oh, interesting. We'll see if we agree. I would say
I'm here with my friend Paul Wood. We're talking about all the cool things that you get to do with designing drivers. So what's really different about the 400 versus the 430? How do we get here?
oh my goodness, 400 to 430.
Yeah.
That's like 4 generations of
That's fine.
technology.
Let's start there.
There's a lot. The philosophies are always the same, right? What can we do to hit it longer and straighter? So from 400 to 430, there's what is it, 6 years, 8 years of technology packed in. We worked a lot on, as it was, spreading the mass, increasing moment of inertia. No matter who you are, whether you're Victor Hovland or me or my dad, forgiveness helps on a driver. The more we can spread the mass, when you slightly mishit it, the ball's going to go a similar distance. That's universal, right? Carsten started the company based on that principle. It still applies now. You swing fast and you find somewhere near the middle of the face, forgiveness helps. You swing slow and you find the whole face, forgiveness helps. Whoever you are, forgiveness helps.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our fundamental. That's a huge one. So from the 400 to the 430, I'm not sure I can do the math in my head, but I'd say we're probably 10, 15% more forgiving. If you add up that 2, 3, 4% we gain each year, that's kind of probably where we are. We've added our spin consistency face technology, which is a kind of gimmicky but cool way of saying what we've done is we've shaped the face in a more complex way. We use all of our motion capture knowledge. That's these pictures behind us. We have a motion capture system that tracks tens of thousands of swings. We feed all that into our mathematical models, and we ask the question, based on where real golfers hit on the face, how they deliver the club, what is the best shape of that face to give you the best results? Mm-hmm. So therefore, we kind of curve the geometry in a more complex way than just a sphere. That's spin consistency.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, you didn't make the term spin consistency, did you?
I was part of the team that. Do you like that term? If you did, it was totally me.
Yeah, totally. Well, I posed that question because a lot of people who take golf lessons or who come to us for lessons use drivers that are 5 or 6 years old. So to even state what you did about how different, how much better you're making either the MOI improvements or just the forgiveness, however you're choosing to do that, makes a big deal, makes a big difference for those players.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we've been having the question for as long as I've been at PING, so getting close to 20 years now. Are we not maxed out on technology? But we are still finding ways to get the club a little bit faster. So you should see an increase in ball speed, certainly over like a G400. On the G430, we're finding ways to improve aerodynamics so you can swing it a little faster. We're getting weight out of the shaft and adding it to the head so you get a bit better energy transfer. We're getting the center of mass lower so we can get the spin down but keep the forgiveness up. So there's a whole bunch of little things. We call them incremental gains, a whole bunch of incremental gains that add up to seeing a lot on the course.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a tough question I'll ask next, which is how much further do you hit on average the 430 than say you would the 400 if you had a well-fit club? I mean, I've got an answer. I say it all the time in these videos, but it'd be interesting to hear yours.
Oh, interesting. We'll see if we agree. I would say from ours, a well-fit G400 to a well-fit G430 on your best hits would probably be somewhere 5 to 10 yards further, and on your average hits probably a little more than that. That would be the...
Yeah, usually I'm thinking 10 to 15 yards, so it sounds about
Yeah,
right.
I think especially if you look at a bunch of hits rather than just your best one.
Yeah,
then I
and
think it's about
20 yards of extra distance, forget the accuracy of it, which is obviously improving too, is a couple shots for even the best players every single round. So
it's huge. Would you rather
awesome
hit a 7-iron or a 9-iron to green?
Yeah, and people just don't recognize that getting fit for a driver is honestly the best investment that you can make for your game, especially if you have one that's 5 or 6 years old. Even a well-fit driver from 2018 isn't going to serve you as well as what you're looking at here.
For sure, and your swing will have evolved over time too.
Yeah.
So what was a great fitting driver 5 years ago, you might want to make some tweaks now. So you're getting the benefit of new technology and a refitting. So I think you get a double whammy.
Yep. So if you're serious about golf, get fit for your driver for sure. So tell me what are like the biggest differences between, say, even the 400 and the 430?
Yeah, I'd say a lot of the stuff that goes on the inside. So the way we place the mats. I mean, you can just look at the weight on the back here. This is more like a 25-gram weight. It's right on the back of the club. We do have a weight on the back of that one. it's much smaller. So all the kind of engineering work to take mass out of the crown in particular, and the whole, the whole body of the driver allows us to concentrate mass further back, which gives you more forgiveness, gets the ball up in the air easier. We've made some smaller gains in terms of aerodynamics. You can see that the 400 has the turbulators, which gives you better aerodynamics. Over the years, we keep making those a little bit better, so they've changed in shape. The overall shape of the driver's changed a little, so it is more aerodynamic. And then one thing that's pretty big, I'd say, is we've really worked hard on the sound. And so a lot of that's internal, a lot of that's understanding which bit of the club are actually vibrating and causing the sounds that make it loud, and putting small, tiny ribs there to damp it down a little. You want your driver to sound powerful, you don't want it to make your ears bleed. So there's that sweet spot of powerful without sounding too loud.
Yep, and I can attest to it. I was out on the range with one of your players, Jim Knaus, hitting it a couple weeks ago, and it is louder and it feels powerful when you hear that sound relative to his previous driver. So couple your cool with the engineering techniques with what you've learned from Focal here, and you've got a pretty good development track.
Yeah, so this Focal system is, it's a new system, but it's a building on what we've had before, which was our Enzo system of 10 years of using motion capture. We're using 800 frames a second cameras. I think actually we're getting closer to 1,000 with our new system. We're measuring the entire swing. So what we do is we put these little markers on the club. We'll have you swing, and we'll see not just impact, but we'll see your takeaway. We'll see what's going on in transition. We'll see how you're bending the shaft. And we've been able to generate so many insights from that. And they feed into club design, just understanding better how golfers swing, what they're doing with the club, why a certain shaft works for you but doesn't work for me, that kind of stuff.
So I think there's a pretty good difference between those two. I want to hit a bunch of these on the range and show the differences in this ball speed and just the dispersion. Using Ping Man would be a fun test one of these days, but we'll get that done here soon. So anything else that you learned from shafts or just Focal in general that's helped you with whatever you're going to design next year?
I would say, the stuff that we're designing next year, I'll have to tell you next year.
Right.
But we
you
are
can just
getting.
tell me the name.
We'll just, we'll wait till the cameras are not rolling.
Yeah, right.
No, we're learning a ton every day, and you'd get a kick out of hanging out down here and testing with us, I think.
Yep, no, that's awesome. All right, thanks, Paul. Appreciate the tour. If you're serious about getting fit for a driver, don't buy this one. Make sure you test the 430.